How you doing, guys? Today's video is going to be about the Gungner Incorporated GR22 chassis system for the Ruger 1022. It's the same chassis that Such and 22 Plinkster recently reviewed. However, I had a much different experience with this, and it's something I want to talk about. Before you guys think that I'm going to bash the chassis system or bash the company, that's couldn't be further from the truth. But I do want to talk about what happened in my experience with the chassis and with the company. So we're going to start off with the installation of the chassis system, and we're going to go into some of the things that I think it could be really good for and really useful for. And then I'm going to tell you guys exactly what happened on my first chassis system, which is not the one behind me. So let's get into it. So for the installation, obviously the very first thing you want to do is make sure your firearm is clear and safe. There is no magazine and chamber is clear. First we're going to remove the barrel band right here, and then we're going to remove the receiver screw. Make sure you take this all the way out because you're going to use the same screw for the chassis system. Now to get this out of your stock, you're going to want to center the safety right in the center, and it should lift out just like that. We're going to grab the main chassis and slide off the top. Slide this in there. You're going to notice the bolt latch may get caught up on this plastic. Just push it back a little bit. What I found that works best is actually putting on a buttstock first. Buttstock helps you get a little grip on your workbench, and then I push down and squeeze together. It goes together a lot easier that way, I think, and there's a lot less risk of breaking something or hurting yourself. So once that's in there, we're going to slide the top rail system in from the very front. They say that if your rear sight gets in the way that you will have to remove it, but in my experience I don't have to do that. This goes on just fine. Then we're going to slide the rail on from the front. It comes with hardware, the 4 screws that go on the chassis system. Then there's going to be 2 screws for the barrel stabilizer. Before I put any screws in the chassis system, I'm going to put in the main receiver screw just so that is secure. We're going to go around and put on the chassis screws, and there's one up front up here, there's one back here, and one on each side where the rail attaches. I do want to point out real quick that there are 2 different sizes. There is going to be 2 that are slightly longer than the rest, and these are going to be for the barrel stabilizer. For the barrel stabilizer, the closed end down here is going to be on the bottom, and the open end is going to be on top. And if you turn it this way, you're going to notice a very slight taper right there, and that's going to be towards the front. So you can slide this on through the front, or you could clip it directly on. It works either way. You may have to push either your rail up or down to get this to go on. It just depends on the tolerances and what it's favoring. Make sure you line up the holes. And once that's lined up, you're going to put in the 2 longer screws. And that's all it is for the install. Now, as you guys notice, I use a Bravo Company gunfighter stock. And the reason that is because it doesn't come with a stock or a pistol grip. However, one of the best aspects of this chassis system is its price point, which comes in at about 50 bucks, which is really good considering there's a lot of other ones out there that are, you know, $100, $100+. There's some that are several $100s. So no, it doesn't come with a collapsible stock or a pistol grip. However, if you were to go with just a basic AR-15 grip and collapsible stock, these things are really cheap. They're easy to find, but there's so many people in the gun community who end up swapping out their furniture. You could probably find these from one of your buddies probably for free. I mean, go find a buddy who recently just upgraded to a Magpul stock or a BCM gunfighter stock, and be like, hey, if this is just laying around, can I have it, or can I buy it off you for a couple bucks? There's a ton of these out there. I'm telling you, I have a ton laying around as well. So they're not going to be hard to find. They're fairly cheap, and it still keeps this whole chassis system at a really good price. So now that you have your Ruger 1022 installed in the chassis, now you get to go ahead and pick the parts that you want to put on it. And so we still have to put a pistol grip on it. One thing I want to note is they have an aluminum block in here, so it's a very secure attachment point for a pistol grip. And then the receiver extension for your collapsible stocks is mil spec. So I don't want to say any, but I'm going to say a majority of mil spec AR-15 stocks and grips are going to fit this chassis system. Another thing I want to point out is the mil spec Picatinny rail that runs along the top and along the bottom of the handguard. There is a little bit towards the back of the rail right there and on the other side. But the key mod on here is not real key mod. That is strictly for aesthetics, and you will not be able to get any of your key mod attachments to fit in there. But the Picatinny rail sections on here does give you a lot of space to add a lot of different attachments and sighting systems. So I'm going to go ahead and put on the Magpul MOE grip. I really like using a red dot on 22s. I think it's a ton of fun for plinking. So I'm going to put on this Aimpoint red dot. I'm going to throw on the Magpul MOE vertical grip. And then I'm going to throw on these flip up iron sights. So let's go ahead and install this stuff. So now that we got all the parts and accessories on that we like, just wanted to show you guys that obviously the Ruger BX25 magazine looks great, works great, but the factory 10 round magazine still works in this chassis system. It obviously just doesn't look as cool, but it's not too far up in there that you can't get it out. It still comes out just as easy, so that's definitely something positive to note. So let's go over a couple reasons why you may want to buy something like this. The very first reason is that it's a lot of fun. I took this out with my wife and my father-in-law. They had a blast. The fact that it's really lightweight made it a lot easier for my wife to handle this than say a real AR-15. And even for people who are really experienced, sometimes it's just really fun to go out plinking and shooting soda cans and stuff like that. And so this definitely falls in that category. Some other more useful purposes for this chassis system would be training with your iron sights. Some other things that kind of align with that is training with different optic systems. If you have a scope, if you're not very familiar with using scopes, red dot sights, variable optics, anything like that, and you don't necessarily want to spend money on ammo for your AR-15, you can use the optics on there and put them on this and just practice with this. Now ballistics are going to be different, so you can't practice your holdovers and wind calls and stuff like that, but your basic fundamentals of keeping steady, trigger pull, sight picture, cheek weld, stuff like that, you could definitely practice with this. One of the last reasons is if you just want to have a Ruger 1022 that looks freaking awesome, this is it, and it's probably one of the best values out there as far as price goes. Like I said, right now as of the filming of this video, this chassis system is about 50 bucks. It's $49.99. So now to talk about the first experience I had with Gungner Incorporated. They sent me one of these, actually during the hurricane, which I was really surprised because I'm pretty sure they're in Miami, Florida. I got it and I started filming, doing an installation. It took me over 2 hours. The tolerances were extremely tight. There was plastic going over the brass fittings. There was a lot of things that were off. Things weren't lining up. And so I had a really hard time. So I hit up Gungner Incorporated on Instagram and I said, hey, I don't want to put up a bad review, but I'm having a heck of a time with this thing. But I can put out a video giving my advice on what you could improve, because I don't want to put out a video bashing anyone, but I'm always willing to help someone improve in a polite way. And they said, you know what, we think because it's polymer, some of the pieces may have cooled incorrectly, and which that could lead to shrinkage, which this top rail section, it made sense. It was a little bit out of spec. It was a little bit shorter. The screws on top weren't quite lining up, and that threw everything else off. The rail was crooked, and so I said, look, I'm really sorry. It must have been a really bad one. I'm going to send you out another one right now. And so they sent out this one, which has the stainless steel screws. I'm not sure if that's a new thing going forward or what the deal is with that. But regardless, they're a really cool company. They want to make it right. These things, from my understanding, do have a 1-year warranty, which is really good for something you're only paying $50 for. So the reason I wanted to bring it up is because no man is judged by his victories, but he is judged by what he does when his back is against the wall. And so if everything looks dandy and perfect all the time, there isn't really much to write home about. But when there is an issue and it's corrected and solved, this guy went together awesome, and we had a really fun time shooting with it. Gungner Incorporated, they're really cool dudes over there, and just want to give them a thumbs up. So if you guys are looking for a tactical chassis for your Ruger 1022, I say check it out. Go pick one up for $50. I mean, just have fun with it. Well, that's it for today's video, guys. I want to thank Gungner Incorporated for sending this chassis out for review. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below, smash the like button, and share this video with all your buddies who you think would enjoy it. And all your other buddies who have a Ruger 1022. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.